I'm very pleased to welcome to the show Janet LePage, CEO, Western Wealth Capital. Janet, thank you for finding time for us this weekend. And you know what this segment is called, The Big Fat Idea. So let's hear what's on your mind.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. What I was hoping to share with you today is we own and operate over 4,000 multifamily units and have transacted over $1.5 billion in real estate. And one of the common questions we get is, where should I buy? What market should I buy? Where should I be looking? And so I wanted to share a little bit around the science of how we pick a market and then the art of the real estate asset that we pick within that market.
And it's another thing, when we get these reports like I was just alluding to, showing sort of really low growth. I mean, it's not even mediocre yet. It tells me the interest rates aren't moving. It tells me people are going to still be looking for yield or some sort of growth opportunity. And real estate obviously is very popular, especially when we're talking, for example, at this point anyways, greater Vancouver at the lower end where they can rent out condos, etc. So yeah, I think this is very timely. Of course, you don't have to just do it there. I mean, do it out throughout North America right now. So why don't we talk about this? What are 2 or 3 quick things you look at?
So first and foremost, always jobs. People go where there's jobs. And if there's a job, you need a bed to sleep in. In the single-family market, what happens is you'll see prices in housing rise because more people are offering on that house. And in the apartment multifamily market, more people are moving in, need something to rent, and so you can increase your rent. And that is where you see great exponential growth in the multifamily market. The second piece that you want to look at when you're picking the city is affordability. So this is something most people miss. Affordability is what percentage of my income am I paying to my rent or my mortgage. An average city is about 50% of your every paycheck goes to just your living. In the cities that we focus in, I look for that lowest ratio possible. And so in Phoenix, as an example, it's 28%, almost half of an average city. And so what that means is people who are living there, you can increase rent and they can afford to do it. And so that growth alludes to a much higher return in your overall real estate investment.
Now, it's interesting. So obviously there's lots of opportunities. So you're pretty strict about those 2 things. I'll give you an example. Jobs and population flow is a big check mark for Greater Vancouver, but the affordability aspect is a negative. You know what I mean?
Very much so. Absolutely.
Does that sort of rule Vancouver out? Because there's just other examples where you get both.
There are other examples where you get both. It's not right or wrong, but that has been our premise to search because we've been able to drastically increase income because of these. In Phoenix, as an example, for every person that moves into a city in the U.S., 3 move into Phoenix. That's 3 beds, looking for 3 more beds. And because there is the affordability, we can increase the rent without really hurting, financially putting a strict, tightrope on our renters, and they're actually willing to pay for things like washers and dryers or extra amenities, which again increase the overall value. That is a lot harder in a city like Vancouver, New York, San Francisco.
Okay, let me come back to so you've identified the city, in terms of economic growth, the affordability, population flow, that kind of stuff. But excuse me, what about then what you look at? And am I looking for single detached family homes? Am I looking for multi-family, like condos, that kind of stuff?
So the next step that you want to, so that's a very scientific, approach. You're just looking at stats. Now you want to put the art to it. What kind of jobs are being created? What kind of people are moving in there? And what kind of, housing are they looking for? You want to follow that. In Phoenix, 40% of the in-migration is in what we call the service industry level. So it's either, longer-term renters, first or younger generation where they're just before they become first-time home buyers. So that's why if you're seeing that, you go and pick apartment-type buildings. If you're in high-tech type in-migration, then you want to be in either higher-end A-class multifamily or you want to be in single-family homes. So you want to take who's moving and then what kind of bed they would be looking for, and that should be your focus.
Now let me count. You're at Western Wealth Capital, of course. You're CEO there. You've done. I was reading about it. About 85 real estate projects. $1 billion+ all of that stuff. So I mean, obviously, you can't speak for everybody in that general industry, but just give me a demographic breakdown of the people who are investing with you.
It's actually all walks. A normal person who understands that real estate investing is a great part to an overall portfolio, low risk, especially multifamily. It's your lowest risk investment, but they don't want to deal with it day to day. We own, we operate, and they get annual cash flows and they get returns. So they get to be in the real estate market without actually having to deal with the headaches of owning the real estate directly or applying for a mortgage. So none of that
how long do you
in our group.
Sorry about that. How long do you tell them they should be, realistic? Obviously they're not doing that and expecting to sell 2 weeks from now. So how long, what kind of time frame are we looking here?
We're usually looking at about a 3 to 5 year time frame. When we pick up our assets, it takes us about a year to 2 years to put in our value add program, which really drastically increases the value of our properties. And then over a 5 year time period, we seek to return 100% return on our investors' equity. And that's sort of been our if we can find those types of assets, that's what we buy.
Great stuff, Janet. I really appreciate you finding time for us.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Have a great Saturday.
Janet LePage is CEO, Western Wealth